Yes, everybody, welcome back to a brand new match preview on the channel. Hope you guys are keeping well and safe. It's another game as the big month of December continues. Our second game in a handful of days as we face off against Manchester United. Once again, we're going to be under the lights at Molineux, giving my thoughts ahead of the game. And of course, little bits and pieces surrounding potential team news. What's going to be happening potentially before the game as well. And as always, a fantastic opposition perspective later on in the video as well. If you want to get involved, let me know your thoughts and feelings ahead of the game in the comment section down below. It's always great to have your opinions. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already as we creep closer to 21,000 subscribers. So as always, your support is much appreciated. If we can hit that by maybe the end of the year, Christmas, that would be unbelievable. But yes, Wolves back in action again against Manchester United this weekend. Monday night. We know it's not been a great season so far. I think Wednesday sort of summed up how the campaign's really been for Wolves. A lot of fans fed up, as I'll go on to talk about shortly. Rob Edwards' pre-match press conference happened already. It happened on Thursday, sort of lunchtime. I spoke a little bit about it on my update video that I did yesterday and some of the comments that he made, which I'll go on to. But really the big thing for us potentially to discuss is the noise surrounding potential demonstrations and protests ahead of this game. There has been a lot of noise, especially after Wednesday's game. I think it's been brewing for some time. There have been some posts and channels about people doing a protest outside the Billy Wright an hour, 90 minutes before kickoff. But the one that's gaining the most traction over the last sort of day or so, it was released today, but by the time this video is out, around 24 hours or so, it's from the Old Gold Pack. I'll display it on the screen now. They're suggesting that fans delay going into the stadium. Basically, of course, the game is going to be live on Sky Sports here in the United Kingdom. Look, you're not going to get every single fan not going in. But I think it's going to take some impression, and it will be on Sky cameras. Number one, the crowd and the stadium being empty, but number two, the fans coming back in and demonstrating against the real poor ownership of this football club. So I don't want to sit here and tell you guys what to do and what not to do, but I think a lot of people will be getting on board with this. It's gaining a lot of traction already on social media. I thought it was important for me to make that aware to you guys rather than sort of glossing over it and not talking about it at all. So it will be very interesting to see what impact, if any, that does. But of course, the nationwide press has started to talk about it a little bit more. But I think in a game like this against Manchester United, on a huge scale, really, there's going to be so many people watching this. It's the only game really on the Monday night. United are a huge club anyway. There's going to be a lot of eyes on this football match. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what impact it does have. Now, going back to the match itself, obviously Manchester United, they played Thursday night, 1-1 draw against West Ham, which I think they'll be very disappointed with. We discussed that a little bit more in the opposition perspective later on. There are going to be some players probably with a point to prove. Matheus Cunha being one of them. He started yesterday for United. Is he going to come back and start at Molineux? Potentially. Again, another interesting one to see the reaction for him. Of course, if there's not many fans in the stadium for the early stages of the game, there may be not many fans to jeer him and so on. I don't know what reaction and reception he will receive, but he is the type of player that will probably turn up for these sort of football matches. But with the Wolves starting 11, this Wolves squad that's going to be available, we know João Gomez is suspended. He picked up his 5th booking of the season against Nottingham Forest on Wednesday, which means he is suspended for this game. Marshall Manetti came off the bench and pulled up just a few moments onto him coming onto the pitch on Wednesday as well. So he's having to have a scan, I think, so there's a chance he's unavailable. So the midfield really is going to look quite interesting for me. I think in terms of a lineup, you probably see Johnson starting goal. The back three may stay the same. Again, I don't think they've been awful over the last couple of games. I think they're looking a little bit more settled. I think I'm disappointed that we obviously conceded from another header. But in terms of, allowing clear-cut chances, I think we've restricted that a little bit more over the last couple of games. I think Johnson had to do a lot better for the Forest goal. Wing-backs will be interesting. I think Jackson Tutu has been really underwhelming. David Muller-Wolves growing into the old gold shirt, but, will Hugo Bueno come back in? The midfield two is a big one for me, though. I think the front three or front two, however Rob Edwards goes, will affect that midfield too, but logically, I think you would probably drop Jean-Ric Bellegarde into the midfield two alongside Andre. And then what do you do with the front three? Do you put Hwang as a forward? Do you bring Tolu in perhaps? Does he go quite risky and start Matheus Mane from the beginning of the game? Because he could go with Tolu and Jorgen Strand Larsen as the front two again with Jean Arias in behind. We need something. I'll be intrigued. I'll be very intrigued to see how Rob starts on Monday, because there's options there. There's opportunities there for some players. And I suppose we'll have to wait and see. But look, I'd love to speculate here on how we can win this football match, or what it would mean to get a win. Obviously, it'll be monumental to get a win. We need to win a game sooner rather than later. The disappointed and quite depressing thing for me now, I mentioned it on my update video yesterday, or on Thursday I uploaded it, in regards to Wolves have had the worst start of a Premier League team now. And the depressing thing for me now is just to try and get a bit of pride, and ridiculously is to beat Derby's record low points. We've just got to make sure we get better than that. That's really sad for me as a team that has been in the Premier League for so long. That's the aim now. I remember people posting and tweeting me maybe after 3 or 4 matches talking about that record, and I couldn't believe it was even being discussed. I laughed it off. I thought it was ridiculous, and now I look like an idiot because there is a genuine possibility of that, especially with how Wolves are struggling to grind out performances, results. They're struggling to create chances, and that's really sad for me. I think I'm resigned to the fact that we're going down now, but can we do it with a sense of pride? Can we make sure we're not labelled in years to come as the worst ever Premier League club? Because if we get lower than that record, like 9-10 points in our lifetime, in my lifetime, I don't think that'll ever be beaten. So in terms of a team getting worse than that, and I can't live a life with that as the record. So yeah, we need some improvement. We need it fast. Manchester United just so inconsistent at the moment. So we'll see if we can upset them and maybe get something. But as always, it was great to catch up with Ty. It's always good to have him on the channel to discuss all things Wolves and Manchester United. We get his thoughts on United so far this season and his opinion and feelings on Ruben Amorim. So guys, it's brilliant to welcome Ty back on the channel to get the Manchester United perspective ahead of this Monday's game at Molineux. Ty, thanks for jumping back on. How you keeping, man?
Always, I'm all good, mate. Yeah, do you know what? I feel like I'm a regular on here now.
Yeah.
And do you know one thing I will say about your community quickly is that I really do like your community, by the way. Like, proper polite. When I come on, they're always respectful. They like the knowledge that I show because I watch both teams and stuff. So yeah, make sure you like the video, subscribe, and yeah, cheers, Dave, for having me on as always, mate.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah, we always get good guys in the comment section. I know it's always a great chat when we discuss all things Wolves and United as well. But I'm going to have a quick chat. We're recording this Friday evening, so sort of 24 hours almost after your game against West Ham, and I only caught the tail end of that game. I think you'll come out of that disappointed, especially with it being at Old Trafford as well. But what's sort of been your overall take of the season so far? Because I think in league position it's not the worst, but games like yesterday I'm sure are going to be frustrating because we've been a couple of those sort of results this season, haven't there?
100%. Do you know what? I'm so disappointed, and I think I'm disappointed because when you look at the league and the state it's in at the moment, obviously a lot of teams are very competitive. 24 points to like 19 points is like 12 positions nearly, but it's like a missed opportunity massively when I look at this team for Manchester United. Like, we've got enough players that we can win games. We're playing 1 game a week. We're not in Europe. And you've got Arsenal there, Man City, and you've got Aston Villa that have gone on a great run. Obviously, I know they're your Midlands rivals, but they've gone on a great run, and now they're third in the league. But I know all teams can probably say it, if only this, if only that, but there's games like the first game at home to Arsenal that I think we should have definitely got a result from.
Yeah.
The Fulham game, we're 1-0 up. Bruno misses the penalty. The game at home to Everton last week on a Monday, should be winning that on paper. Respect to Everton and Dewsbury, all good players. We should be winning at Old Trafford.
Especially against 10 men as well. Yeah.
Against 10 men for 75 minutes.
Yeah.
And then West Ham, a team that are not great on the ball. Loss of Lucas Paqueta. They didn't even have him yesterday. We should be winning that and seeing that game out 1-0, go on and win 2-0. There's about 9 or 10 points, I think solid 9 that I think Manchester United could have. And right now we'll be sitting third or second. And I know teams can say that about their clubs, and I get it. But the way we play, the way we are, this season feels like a massive missed opportunity. But the truth is, we deserve to be where we are because we've not won them games. We've not been good enough in front of goal. The football's still not been that much of an improvement. Ruben Amorim is starting to really wind me up. And you know me, Dave, I'm not really like one of them fans that likes his manager out quick and stuff like that. But I'm starting to think, do you know what? This is never going to fully be improved under him. So I'm underwhelmed and I'm disappointed, mate. I'm really like dejected, if I'm honest. After the Everton game sealed it for me. I was so dejected. So dejected.
Yeah, it's interesting in terms of Amorim because there was so much speculation. Obviously, he came in the first year or the first season. Last year wasn't great, and there was so much speculation. Should Man United move him on? Should they keep him again? And obviously, the guys at the top have pretty much said, "Look, we keep it in." So I suppose in a way, it settled the nerves, and I suppose speculation could calm down a little bit with that, so fans know where they stand. But I feel like you said, results like that are just frustrating. What do you think is going wrong? Because before I'm going to say, I called probably 3/4 of the Palace game when you were on Sunday, and United looked okay. I think first half they weren't brilliant, second half they turned it on a bit. And even against West Ham yesterday, you've got the ball sort of 75 and 80% of the time in the opposition half. Is it just that it's not clicking in that final third? Because players look busy, like Bruno's buzzing everywhere, but there just doesn't seem to be that cutting edge.
Yeah, there's no fluidity in it. I feel like a lot of players are trying to do little individual moments off the cuff. I don't think there's no rhythm. I also think the formation as well is very he's very strict on the formation, and I think it football, like Dave, I know you're a few years younger than me, but people that watch this channel might be older and stuff. And I remember like football's about flair, creativity, just go out there and enjoy yourself, play with a smile. It seems very rigid and like this is what you must do. And you get Mason Mount in certain positions on the half turn. It's like drive forward with it. No, he just plays it back. You got Brian Mbeumo, a 15 to 20 goal man at Brentford. He's now playing sometimes at wing back. We're not seeing him do what he was effective doing at Brentford, which is Ivan Toney winning the flick ons, him darting in behind. We're not using Mbeumo to his strengths, and now he's looking poor. Matheus Cunha, I had concerns about him anyway. I really like him, but I had concerns in terms of when he's in transition and there's space in front of him to run into. I think Cunha's brilliant. But if you're in a team that's going to dominate more of the ball and teams are in a low block, is he that type of player to be that creative sort of guy, 1-2 passes? I said to people, I think he'll struggle against teams like that. Whereas when we play probably the top size, there'll be space. He'll look brilliant. And we're seeing that already. So, with United, I just think there's a lack of confidence, a lack of self-belief in the players, too much instruction rather than creative freedom. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of the things that we needed resolving in the summer haven't quite been resolved. I know we spent 200 million on the attack. Sesko and Mbeumo Cunha coming in. Yeah, it's nice to see, but by the Everton game and the West Ham game, you can see we still lack with more pace and dribblers rather than sort of efficient or robust players like Sesko, Cunha. They're not like directly pacey and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think the centre mid, I'm crying out for Adam Morton. Man United have never replaced Michael Carrick. And I think I've said this to you probably every stream we've had. Casemiro's still in there. Bruno's playing in there now. Agate's poor. Kobe, unfortunately, doesn't really suit the formation, which is a shame, even though he's a very technical player. So we need midfielders, and the wing backs are not good enough. And when you play a back five, as you'll know, under Nuno for you guys, sometimes you play it now. When you have certain positions, which are the wing backs, I think the 2 10s, and even the midfielders, they're kind of like very important rather than just playing a 4-2-3-1 where you can have a fullback. If your wing backs ain't good, you're going to struggle because they're effectively are outlets going forward. And then in the midfield, there's two of you rather than normally against a 3-man midfield. You need some control. You've got Yao Gomez, who's going to miss the game, but you've got good players like that you definitely need. And then if you're 10s, you've lost Cunha now. You've got Bellegarde in there. Wang don't really play much. You're missing that. And I feel like you can see it. You're having sort of the same problems as us.
The wing backs are a big one. I think we've seen that massively. And I think we almost took players like Aït-Nouri and even Semedo for granted at Wolves. The last couple of seasons weren't great for Wolves, but we haven't replaced them adequately. We've got, Chichira, who looks well off it. Motherwolf and Hugo Bueno doesn't quite click for those pair yet. But I think you're right. If you're playing in that five, it's crazy for Manchester United. Look, we all know, everyone watching this video knows that at the moment they're not at the heights that they were at under Ceramics and so on. But when they've still got some top quality players. You'd argue some players world class, and when you're playing that formation, we play with that much quality. You can't restrict what they do. You almost need to, you have a great for his creative freedom there. Like players like Cunha last year, who did so well for us because it was almost at times it was frustrating because it felt like he was doing his own thing, but that's probably why we saw the best out of Mateus Cunha as well. It's like, you just
Yeah.
float around this area, pick up the ball and
Yeah.
drive us forward.
He was kind of the centrepiece to you lot, and I think
Yeah.
he's not that at Man United because Bruno is.
Yeah, exactly. But like with Bruno, I think I saw that a little bit, just certain glimpses yesterday. He had a chance right at the death where he just chased lost balls. He was in half spaces. He wants it. You could tell he understands. He knows where he should be. But sometimes as a manager, they can hold players back, and I do fear for Amorim that unless I think things have clicked a little bit more this year than they were last year for you, but. Just long term,
it's not the consistency you want though. Like you said something. I listened to when you were speaking, and when you said, "Oh, I caught some of the game against West Ham, but I also caught like 60 minutes of the Palace game," and you was okay. Like you said, we was like okay is not good enough. We got the win,
to the ball well enough, but there's no, like I said, there's no bite. You know, what team Arsenal City just like bang.
Yeah. How many clear cut chances do we get a game? That's how I always look at it. Because we don't. Set piece against Palace, Mason Mount. Set piece again with Xerxes scoring. Like, we didn't really create chances. Last night, didn't create chances. Against Everton, 10 men didn't create chances. And it's starting to add up now. And I think last night, funny enough, going into this game against Wolves was the first time players looked really dejected. At full-time whistle, they were there like in a bit of disbelief, knowing they could have gone 4th or 5th last night with a win. So we didn't capitalise, which we never do. We never capitalise on other teams' mistakes. And even Mazraoui, who I really like Mazraoui in terms of he speaks well, he's good in the back four, he's a competent player. One of the journalists asked him, like, sometimes it must be frustrating. And he was like, this sometimes is becoming too regular or something he said something that is like, they're even becoming annoyed now. And once that starts happening and you go into a tough game now like Wolves, because no disrespect to you guys, yes, you haven't won a game, we'll be the type of team that are going to rock up on Monday night and give you your first win, mate.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because that is the way we are right now. I don't know what United we're going to get, and it's worrying going into Monday. I'll be honest. I'm not gonna come here and lie and say we're going to win it. I'm really worried actually.
Yeah, it's strange. I think a lot of Wolves fans we've sort of given up hope now, but it's strange. I think under Sir Alex we broke a couple of decent United runs over the years. I think back in maybe 2003, I think United were unbeaten at the top and Wolves were at the bottom. Kenny Miller scored at Molineux, I think around 2011.
Was that the year that might have been the year Ferdinand had a ban?
Possibly, because I think Wes Brown was playing and someone else.
I think Ferdinand might have missed that drugs test or something. Yeah.
So Kenny Miller scored then, but I think it was around 2010, 2011-ish as well. We beat United, they were on a great run at the top of the league and we were bottom. I think Ella Kobe and Kevin Doyle scored. So it's not unusual for Wolves to rock up in these sort of games. But interestingly, Todd, you mentioned João Gomez earlier on. He had been linked with Manchester United. I think there have been some subtle routes for Andre as well. João Gomez, I think if he's going to leave Wolves, January is genuinely a possibility. If Wolves are, so far adrift come middle to end of January, is he the sort of player or type of profile do you think Manchester United should be going for?
I think he's very. I can see that he's very good at winning the ball back. He's got a bit of that bite about him, and I think I think all teams need a player like that because they're kind of a bit of a unique profile. No one wants to sort of do the dirty side of the game, as you call it, and he don't mind getting stuck in and doing that. But also, actually, he's Brazilian. We all know he's technical. Like, he does a few nice turns and, then it opens up space for the other players. I look at him and I'm like, is he going to be that guy that sits in front of the back four and plays as a 6, or do you see him as more getting about? I was actually going to ask you what your opinions would be, because I love an Adam Morton who's going to sit and control the midfield, and we haven't had that for a long time. Do you think João Gomez can give us that, or is he going to be more of a Casemiro where you're like, right, he'll be that guy that's going to win the ball back and do the dirty stuff, but you'll still need an Adam Morton next to him?
Yeah, I don't think sort of it's difficult with João because I'm still trying to figure out what is his best role. I mean, you can see when you watch him at Wolves, there's obviously qualities there. Like you said, he's a disruptor. He'll stop counter-attacks, he'll draw fouls. He's one of those clever players that can probably make 5 or 6 fouls a game and only pick up 1 booking. He's clever with that sort of thing. But the sort of going forward, I think United would be okay as long as you've got maybe, we talked about, the formation earlier. I think you probably need like maybe 4 forward players ahead of him to drive the ball forward. I don't think João's got the quality where he can pick up the ball and he'll find the killer pass or he'll spray the ball out wide. So it'll be interesting. It wouldn't answer what Manchester United need, maybe, but again, are you going to be wanting to spend 40 to 50 million pounds on someone like that? I mean,
That's it. Yeah, you've got Elliot Anderson, obviously,
yeah,
big money.
exactly.
You've got Adam Morton's going to be big money. I think Beleba's obviously going to price is going to come down, but I don't look at Yao Gomez and think that he's better than them. And that's not no shade on Yao Gomez, good player, but I'm like, is he better than Anderson? Probably not.
Warren was
Do you know what I mean?
unbelievable when we played Palace
Yeah.
the other week, and even against United, there was a couple of decent passes he played through as well. He just looks, I think it was one there, Palace on the penalty actually, just the pass that he played straight through. It was just fantastic.
You're right, actually. Yeah.
But even I look at Andre, I would Andre as well, but I think he's limited a little bit with the players around him. But if you want him at midfield, just sit in front of the back four or back five and let everyone else go and do their thing, Andre might be a better option. Probably a similar-ish sort of price as well. I'll be interested. There's a lot of noise around here. There's a couple of, I think Ornstein played it down a little bit, but there's still noise around that. So I'll be interested to see
my heart of hearts doesn't tell me that I think we're going to... I haven't heard even from my regular source as well that we're going to go for him. I feel like it's a name that we're potentially interested in, but I think with the way football is now with the budget and PSR, we need to go for the best one that we can potentially get, which is obviously Wharton, Baleba or Anderson. I think we just have to get one of the three. And I think one of the three will go to one of the big clubs. Anderson's linked with City, if not us. You've got Baleba that's linked to Liverpool, if not us. And then you've got Adam Wharton that's linked to Liverpool, City and us. And you wouldn't be surprised if Chelsea even coming through if Lavia doesn't sort out his injury. So I think all three players will probably be on the move next summer. And it's kind of like, who gets him?
It's painful with Anderson because when we ended up selling Max Kilman a couple of years ago, we were offered cash plus Elliot Anderson for Max Kilman from Newcastle and we rejected it. And I could probably find the post and the amount of Wolves fans, because at the time he hadn't really broken into the Newcastle
He wasn't
team.
that great, I've not been the biggest Anderson fan in the last 12 months. I'm like, he's actually really growing. When Newcastle sold him, I thought, like, it's not really that much of a big loss. But then it was the same thing as when you sold Gibbs White to Forest. People were like, 45 million. Was it 45 million? Yeah. What's going on there? Why are Forest paying that money? But now you look here, you think in today's market, actually, no, fair play.
Yeah.
So football's a funny game.
I think they need the right fit, obviously, but these English lads, and obviously you got the English tax anyway, but they get the game time, you can see what happens. What's the overall aim then, Ty, do you think, for Manchester United? And like you said earlier, European football, is it to try and break back into the top four? Is that the hope and ambition? And obviously, like
top five, mate. I want the top five this season.
Yeah.
I really did. Sorry, to be honest with you, Dave. Like when you look at the Champions League spots, we get 5 spots. I think Spain get 5 spots as well. And we're talking now after game week 14, which gives you a rough picture of what's going on with the Premier League. Liverpool not playing great at the moment.
Yeah.
You've got Aston Villa winning 5-6 in a row. Now they're third. Chelsea up and down, losing to Leeds. Top 5 is there to be shot at. We play one game a week. We spent £200 million on the attack. We've still got Luke Shaw, Martinez, Yoro, Maguire, a lot of players that teams would take, but the formation's poor and the football's not great and we're lacking consistency. But that doesn't mean I should change for my targets because these players and the manager are not delivering.
They're capable though as well.
They're capable of doing it. Yeah, we should be fit and ready and beating Everton at home and beating West Ham at home. So I want to get in the top 5. My issue is that I don't want to finish in the 7th, 6th or 7th and be in Europa League because, look, I know some teams love being in Europa League. Big up to Nottingham Forest. Their away fans can get to travel to Europe and stuff, and it's something I haven't done. I love that for them. But for me as a United fan and where I want to aim, I feel like it can become a hindrance rather than a positive being in Europa League. I'd rather be Champions League or nothing. So top 5 for me, and if not, finish out of Europe. And the board have got a big decision to make.
It's the quality of players you can attract as well. Manchester United, if they're shopping in the same windows as the likes of Chelsea, City, and whatever, you need some sort of pulling power as well. And Champions League is massive for that. Quickly before we finish, Ty, you watch a load of football. You watch probably more football than I do, but overall thoughts on Wolves. It was at the foot of the table. It's not looking great. I think we know what the end result is going to be. But thoughts and maybe a couple of players that you're still interested in seeing on Monday.
Yeah, to be fair, I'm actually more interested in Andre over Yao Gomez. I was kind of glad you mentioned that because I like a DM, and I think that I feel like, not saying he hasn't been given a fair opportunity, but I feel like he hasn't had a long, consistent run as a starter in the team. The manager's been a bit in and out with him, and obviously you've got your new manager that's come in now. I tipped you lot to go down last year, and I got it wrong. But obviously this year, it's looking sad for you guys, which is a shame. But obviously, hopefully, you can bounce back up with a good stadium and fans and stuff like that. But I don't look at this is the first time in quite a while that I look at this Wolves team, and I'm not like fearing anyone really. I think Hwang's the actual one player I fear in your attack. Funny enough, and I know he doesn't really play much at the moment and stuff, but I liked him at Salzburg, so I've always followed him, and I know when he was on that good run at Wolves, I know what he can do, but confidence is probably gone. But he would have been the player I'd be looking at, and Andre in the midfield. But I don't look at this Wolves team like you said at the moment, and I'm thinking, there's this player that stands out, or I can get confidence from this player. I'm more looking at it going into this game thinking, can Man United do what they should be doing and just rocking up and winning and beating a Wolves that is low on confidence and hasn't won a game? Or are we gonna, you probably play FIFA, Dave, in a long time over your life. When you play someone that's better than you or someone that's really good, you're there sitting forward and you're playing at your best. You play someone that you normally beat and you're in a tournament or something and you're at someone's house and all of a sudden like you're struggling against someone you beat all the time and you sink to their level.
Yeah.
Will we sink to your level or will we go 2-0 up in 30 minutes and the game is done? The pressure is on Man United rather than you lot, and I'm going into it with a different mindset than what I would be normally at Molineux over the years, if I'm honest.
Yeah, it's a quick fire turnaround as well because we play you boys just after Christmas as well, just before the New Year. So I'm sure we'll catch up again in a couple of weeks for just a quick catch up, see what's happened since and the situation maybe going into Jan. But Ty, I'll let you go now. Quickly, score prediction. What are you thinking for Monday?
You'll score. I'm going to go 2-1 United. A lucky jammy sort of a winner will be between the 70th and 90th minute. But don't be surprised if you get a result because, guys, we are poor. But surely you're poorer. We'll see. What about you, mate?
I don't know. I can't see. I mean, I'd be deluded to think Wolves are going to get a win, but well, let's see. Maybe a 1-1 draw. We'll take a point. But I mean, it's not
Sean Larson's there, mate. You never know. Set piece or anything like that. Football's a funny old game.
Yeah, exactly.
I think if he plays well, then you've got a chance. If he doesn't, you're quite limited. If I'm honest.
I think. And quickly, where can people find you if they wish?
Thai Sports Talk for my personal YouTube. I do Man United stuff, but I also do a lot of stuff on like the top 6 and stuff. I actually just dropped a video on Malik Tiao at Newcastle. So I do follow a lot of the teams in the Prem. And then Never a Foul is our generic channel on the way to 50k. I'm on there every Saturday. So you can find me there. Make sure you like this video. Support Dave. Great guy. And thanks for having me on, bro.
No worries. I'll catch up with you soon, mate. And all the best. See you later.
Wicked. No worries. Good luck, mate.
Cheers, mate. Bye, mate.
Cheers.
So big thanks as always to Ty. Like I said earlier on, it's always a pleasure to have him on the channel. And a big game coming up for Wolves once again. Rob Edwards has sort of made it very, very clear in press conferences, the post-match stuff, that how upset and angry he was with the performance on Wednesday. He was talking to people in the South Bank. I think people in the South Bank were waving their arms around after the Forest game saying it's not good enough. And he was nodding and saying, I know, I need to do something about it. He agrees. So let's see. We need a reaction. Can we get that on Monday? I really, really do hope so. I think it'll just be a very intriguing and interesting night overall with the demonstrations beforehand, how that comes to fruition, and obviously the performance on the pitch as well, if that impacts it or whether we do get some sort of reaction out of the boys. As always, guys, hit the like button down below, subscribe to the channel. Please do enjoy your weekend. Fingers crossed it's a positive result and Wolves do shock us on Monday. But as always, I'll be back after the game with my post-match reaction anyway. But you look after yourselves, guys. I'll see you all very soon.